All right, friends, I got some treasures to show you, and we're going to do that right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver Man, and this is probably the first of maybe 3 trailer loads that I need to get. And what you're looking at is 500 series combine parts, friends, which I have been looking for some of this stuff for a long time. And it got dark on me and I wasn't able to load up as much as I wanted on this load, but there's at least 2 more trailer loads worth of stuff, because several of the items are big items. And yeah, so we'll look at this a little bit and explain what we got going here. But basically, a guy that I buy parts from all the time, he sent me a message one day and he said, hey, and a guy came into work here and he's got some combine parts he wants to sell, and it sounds like if he doesn't get them sold pretty soon, they're gonna go to the scrap. And I said, well, we can't have that, so let me have his number. So called him, talked to him. Nice old guy. He retired from farming. He's an IH guy, likes international tractors, and he likes the Oliver combines, though. That's what they used all the time, was 500 series Oliver combines. Then he ended up with an 8800, and then finally finished with an 8900. And so whatever. So we finally got together, and I drove up there. He said, just come up and see what I got to see if you're even interested. And I said, buddy, I'm interested. I don't even need to see it. I'll tell you, I'll take it. But I was even happier than expected, because we talked about some stuff on the phone, and what I really needed for the last several years was some of these early style cornhead snouts for my 545. The last time I used it in the field, I totally destroyed it. And that was already the spare one. I had one extra one and we had already swapped out years ago. So there's some more in there, but it got dark and I couldn't see what I was doing. So I took 3 so I could get started. So we're gonna mess with that in another video and get it cleaned up and painted and put on the combine, because I think that was the last piece that I didn't have for that combine. I think everything else I have pieces to fix it. We just have to do the work. So that kind of puts me in high gear on that, because it could shell corn again then. But so what we have on this trailer, he had all these in his old barn, and his old barn was starting to kind of fall in a little bit, and so he hired somebody to fix it, and they're doing foundation work and everything, and these parts are in the way, so he wanted them out. So I tried to get stuff out of his way. This is stuff that was right in the way of where they're working, and then he's going to move some of the heavier stuff where we can get to it better, and I'll go back for the next load, and then I'd say the last load I'll get whatever's I can't fit on this next one. So we'll just look over some of the stuff. This is supposedly a feeder house for a 525 maybe, and he's of course stripped it down, and I don't know if it was why or what the deal was. It's one of those things that he said, I almost scrapped it, but then I thought, well, someday maybe somebody will need it somehow, somewhere. So I said, absolutely. So I threw it on the trailer. I've got a 525 now. This rim, the same deal. It's got a crack in it, but it's very fixable if you had to have an emergency rim. And so there again, it's one of those things. We're not scrapping that. I'll take it and set it aside for future who knows what. Spindles for a 525. I bet, like he said, I bet you won't find another set of them laying around. So he had kept them and was going to make something. I don't know what he was going to make exactly, but at any rate, that came with me. These are some head lift cylinders, I believe, for a 525. Because the other ones are bigger in diameter. We have some sieves here. This is for a 525, I believe, and then that would be for a 535 or a 7300. I think is the way it is, because I think that one's a little bit wider than this one. Maybe they're the same, I don't know. I got one of each size, so yeah. The 7300 is essentially a 535 with a bunch of updates. So, and he had a nice 535 in the shed. I wish he'd sell that, because then I'd have all three, but whatever. We need to build some sheds first before we buy more toys. But this here is a barrel of gold, really, if you were going to run these combines, because we have all kinds of miscellaneous pulleys and shaft couplers. Here's some shafts for the corn head drive. It takes spline shafts like that. There's some shafts for the final drives to the transmission in there. There are all kinds of the cast pulleys, and here's hubs for the switchable sprockets. You know, that's like what goes on top of the grain tank. There's one of these. I don't know if, I think one of mine needs a better one of those. There's some bearing holders, more couplers, sprockets, the double sprockets to change your speeds. Here's a piston for the early style variable speed. I don't know. There was no rhyme or reason to how this stuff was. It was just piled in there, so I just grabbed it as quick as I could to fill up a decent-ish size load here, because I knew one thing I was taking with me definitely was some snouts, so that I could start working on that. I don't know that I'm going to get it done this year to be able to do it. Again, a day late and a dollar short, but if I got the stuff, now's the time. I'm fired up about it, so we might get it done. But I grabbed 3 of these, and it was totally dark, so I couldn't even see what kind of shape they're in. This one and that one I got drug out there are probably the best 2 from what I've seen. They're slid in a little bit narrower, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this down and we'll heat these all up so that we can get them broke loose. And I think I'll probably just go ahead and take this most of the way apart, or at least in 2 halves, and then clean it up and paint it. Looks like somebody's painted it silver or something. And if we do that and get it all painted up good, then we'll be ready to slide it out wide and put it on the combine. The only thing is it doesn't have one of these whoop-de-woos on it, and I found my old one off the bent one, so we need to probably just make us a new one, because this one's getting pretty razor thin. But I went and got that off the other one a while ago to see where we were at with that. But I think it's been a while since I've had the stuff apart, but I think there's 3 bolts in this cast point, these 2 braces and then the top. And if I take those all loose and pull that point off, and then I can take those screws out, and I can have basically these 2 halves and then the top plate and the point, and that'll let me be able to get in there and clean up everything I want and whatever. Maybe I should just take the screws loose, widen it, be done with it, but I'd kind of like to do it the nice way. But yeah, this one has been kind of rode hard, but it's still better than the one that I had. I mean, the one that I had is all wadded up. So there is a set of cylinder bars for, I don't remember if that was for a 535 or for a 545. We'd have to measure. They look kind of narrow for a 545, so probably 7300, 535. And then there was some miscellaneous sheet metal laying in there. We just tossed on there. There's a good ladder. So we need to see if that will go. That one, the green 7300, the ladder is twisted, and if that ladder is exactly the same, we'll put that one on there and we'll have us a decent-ish ladder. This here is a radiator cover and hoop off of a 545, which should be the same as the ones on the 7300s and that, and cousin needs one of those for his. It's all mangled, so we will see if that will fit his, and then we might make that happen for him there. Then this should be a hood for a 545, which is handy because my hood is a little bit wrinkled, where one time I forgot to put it down when I backed it out of the shed, and it hit a rafter, and it made a mess of it. But I got it straightened out pretty good, but maybe this one would be better. There's a drive pulley off like the feeder house, and some blocks for the feeder house. You know, just miscellaneous stuff. There's a crank for some straw walkers. That's probably off of 535 or 7300. I don't know. But like I said, there was no rhyme or reason to how it was piled in the barn. I just knew that I had to start getting it out of there because he was getting to where it had to be done. I mean, the guys are going to want to work in the barn, and the next load will probably have some transmissions and final drives. There is 2 engines complete on skids, one V8 for like the 545, or the green 7300 has that same motor, so I got that. Then there was another 6-cylinder motor for like a 525 on a skid. I told him I'd take that. There was a straw spreader, not a chopper, but that 3 paddle, like 3 spinning snakes for a 525, and that's good because I don't have the one for that one, so I'll be able to put that back on and make it more complete. So parts, you can never go wrong buying parts, especially when you can get them for a good deal. And so I have always, my entire life, if there was parts for sale, tried to buy out collections of parts, because a lot of times it's not that much money. Guys are getting ready to scrap it, so if you can get it for close to scrap price, why, you can have some extra parts on hand, and then when you need something, you've got it on the shelf. And that's why I don't sell parts to people, because when I want to use it, all I got to do is go over to the wall and take it off and put it on. And that's how we go. Now, some people, this is going to lead me into a tangent, but that's okay, because I got some new merch that I'm going to do for a limited time only based upon this. But this is a good segue into this whole spiel about this. So people, I guess my entire life, have, like, they'll see the stuff I got and, you know, the stuff I drag in or whatever, and then they'll make some comment like, oh my gosh, you got all kinds of money or whatever. And you can think what you want, but that's not necessarily true. If you want stuff like this, you know, or you want to buy parts or tractors or whatever it is, here's how you do it. Work harder, you know? A lot of people who are complaining that they're not, you know, being able to do the stuff they want to do are the same ones who are sitting around doing nothing, watching TV at nighttime or whatever. Go out and work a second job and you can get stuff. I work 4 or 5 different things. And like I said, a lot of times I only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I work more. And that's how I get the ability to buy stuff. I was not, because that's another topic that I think people misunderstand. I was not, like, Grandpa didn't buy all this stuff. You know, I think people think that too. They think, oh, he just bought you whatever he wanted. No, he did not. A matter of fact, he had a definite dollar limit of what he would spend on anything, and he was not interested in buying any of this kind of stuff that you see here. He did like old tractors and different things, but he never bought any. With the exception of that VAC case, I cannot think of one old tractor on this place that he bought as a collectible tractor. You know, he just didn't do that. That wasn't his thing. Was horse tools. He grew up with horse tools, so he bought a lot of, you know, harness stuff and different things at auctions and things. But a lot of times if I wanted something, I had to buy it. Or, you know, he might go in on it once he saw how it was useful or interesting. You know, there'd be a piece of equipment I'd buy, and then he'd end up wanting to plant with it or something, you know. Well, then he would, you know, pay a repair bill here and there or whatever. But he was not just one to say, okay, just go get whatever you want and I'll pay for it. And absolutely not. Pretty well, I would say 98% or even more than that maybe around here of the stuff you see is stuff that I drug in here and paid for. It's not stuff that Grandpa wrote a check and I just got it because I wanted it, you know, or I decided I wanted to be a farmer, so Daddy bought me a tractor and I, you know, got to do what I, no, absolutely not. And that good example of that is at 1855. I wanted that, and I thought we could use it because it was so much bigger than what we were using at the time. And nobody was on board with that. Absolutely not. If you want it, you figure out how to pay for it, because we're not spending money on that. So, and then as soon as I bought it, it became the main thing around here, and everybody expected it to be used when they hadn't put any money into it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, pretty well, like I said, the secret to having things is just working harder. Which leads me into my limited time only merch thing, and we'll go on this road. Somebody sent me a screenshot here. It's been a while back now because it took a while to make this merch, so I haven't said anything about it, but sent me a screenshot of some comments from another channel that I guess the people were making, and somebody had apparently made a comment, and it was weird because the comments were like the original guy who made the comment must have deleted his things, so they were all gone. All I could see is the replies from this channel. And anyway, it was alluding to the fact that the guy had brought up my name about how, you know, I buy stuff, and then the YouTube channel made some comment like, well, he must have a lot more money than I do, or whatever, to spend on things because, you know, the people ain't giving away parts, and parts ain't cheap, and this and that, and whatever. And I thought, whatever, dude, you know, I have had people give me parts to see them go to a good home, and I have bought parts cheap because I worked harder. I didn't whine and complain that I wasn't getting stuff my way or people handing me things, you know. I just made it happen. So that's, do whatever you want with that. But I did find it humorous, the one comment there that said, what did it said, I'll put the screenshots in so you can see, but it said, you know, a metric ass ton of money is what I must have. Well, when I saw that, I started laughing, and it gave me an idea for a shirt. So I made a shirt that I will have available on the spring store there for a limited time, let's say from now, Thanksgiving time, until Christmas, and then the first of the year I'm going to cut it off there. But I did get the sample, and I'll show it to you. Well, here you go, friends. For a limited time only, you can have this beautiful metric ass millionaire t-shirt. Right there we have the comment, he must have a metric ass load of disposable income. And there I am, getting surrounded by all my money, driving the junkyard tractor for the first time. So you can shop if you will. The back has the new rendition. We'll get it turned around here, but the back of it has the latest rendition of artwork made by my pal Doug Nelson. And once again, I didn't ask him to do that. He reached out to me and said, hey, let me make you some artwork, and we'll split the profits on that. Now, there you go. It's got a lot going on, but if you look at it close, it's kind of cool because you have everything. We got the 1365, 4180, the 1855. I think that's a 77, my original 77, because he asked a bunch of questions and then made it. There's Buddy the dog and me holding a wrench and some farm animals like we hear, and then a bunch of the nonsense that I say flying around in the background. So, you know, get yourself one of these for a limited time only. The Metric Ass Millionaire t-shirt. Probably not for children. If you're a child, don't order this and wear it to school because you'll get in trouble, and that's probably in poor taste anyway. But, you know, use judgment, parents. Just like watching the videos, it's not my fault if your kid hears something not cool. These videos are set that they are not made for children, so that is your job to police that. I'm just living my life, doing my normal thing. If you don't like it, you need to regulate that at home. But go check this out and get one of these for a limited time only. I had a good laugh about it the whole time I was making it, and I think that it's funny. So do what you will with that. But the moral of my story is, when I drag stuff in and whatever, and if you want stuff too, all you got to do is work harder, you know. If you spend more time working harder instead of complaining about all the missed opportunities that you have in life and the things that aren't fair and you didn't get given to you or whatever, you can have a whole bunch of stuff too. That's advice for everybody about every subject. I don't care if you collect baseball cards or whatever you do. Just work harder and you can make your dreams happen, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm being serious here. This is supposed to be like good advice. That's how this works, you know. There's a lot of people out there who it seems like every time you talk to them, all they do is complain about how I didn't get this, I didn't get that. It's just not fair. All the big guys get this. I don't get this, whatever. I don't get to do whatever. I just wish I had whatever. Well, you can't depend on others to make things happen for you. You have to do it yourself, and you can do that by simply working harder. Get another job, get a second job, a third job, or a fourth or fifth job, like I've done many times, where I just go from one thing to the next. Is it stressful? Absolutely. Good for your health? Not at all. But do you have extra money to spend on things that you need or want? Yes. So that's what you need to do. So anyway, just a cool little view of some stuff that's to come, because definitely now we have some things we were waiting on to fix the combines, and we can go and make that happen now. And so hopefully at least by next year we can start using combines regularly, I hope, again. You know, that was my big holdup, is these parts are getting harder to find. I'm not going to pay an arm and a leg for stuff to have it shipped in here one piece at a time. I knew that the stuff I need would surface eventually if I was just patient, and today's the day, friends. I finally found my magical pile of stuff that had all the things that I needed to put back together my combine that I had, and I want to get the red one back together too, and that might even be possible because, like I said, I got final drives and more transmissions, so we should have enough stuff to make it happen. Now we just need to create more time in the world. That's the big hassle too, you know. When you're working all those other jobs for other people to make money so you can afford to do this stuff, you also have a limited supply of time. But I think that we can find a reason to squeeze this in, because I really do like running these old 500 series combines. I don't think that I will go back to probably using them and doing a whole bunch. It just doesn't make financial sense to do that. That might be hard for you people to understand sometimes, but what I paid somebody to custom harvest is less than I was paying to repair the combine to do it myself. And that's not even counting the fuel. So right there, at least with soybeans, it makes a lot of sense to let somebody do it who has the biggest combine I can get, and you know, we can knock it out in just a short order. Now with corn, it would be a lot handier if I could probably do some of it myself, so I wasn't sitting here waiting and then it ends up to be November. But in this case, a lot of what I was doing here is the corn was not very high priced, so getting it out early and trying to get it dried didn't really make a lot of sense either. And I was kind of gambling on hopefully we could just let it dry in the field. The weather is turning kind of bad now, but this is nothing. I mean, I have definitely combined in December before, so, and this last year we combined in March, so hopefully we don't have that repeat. But I think that we can, you know, make it happen. I think we can get it done in the next few weeks, and like, I think we're just going to take one semi load and take it right down to the river and see what we get with that, and then I'm just going to sell it all right now and be done with it. And that's how she goes. But at any rate, I'm not just going to ramble and whatever. Go buy you a t-shirt if that tickles your fancy. If not, don't. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. It's your life. You do with it what you want. But we will be getting at least 2 more loads probably from this place, and I think it's super cool because there's a lot on here right now that I see I can use right away. So and we can go through as we put stuff away and check over machines, and there may be some stuff on ours that isn't as good as what's here, and we can put better stuff on and make ours better. I don't know, but that's where we're headed. I wasn't going to turn down parts, especially those snoots, because I needed them bad. So anyway, that's where we are. We're going to leave this one here. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. After watching what you just saw, do you feel like your IQ has dropped lower than your credit score? Well, there's no reason that both of us should be miserable, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. That stuff costs you nothing, and it really helps me out. Your banker may not approve, but I know mine will. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.